If one morning you stand in front of the mirror and suddenly realize that your face looks softer, your jawline is no longer as defined as before, and your cheeks seem to be sagging slightly, even though you still take good care of your skin, still apply cream every night, still take collagen, and try to get enough sleep. First of all, please don't rush to blame yourself. So many women over 60 have told me they feel exactly the same way. It's not that deep wrinkles suddenly appear, not that the skin clearly looks worse, but rather a change that's hard to name, as if the face has lost its lifting support, lost the familiar sense of firmness from earlier years. And what confuses many women the most is this: I haven't neglected myself, so why is my face still changing? The truth is, after 60, the skin no longer responds the way it did when you were 40 or 50, not because you did something wrong, but because the body has entered a different phase of operation. There is something very few people explain clearly. The face is not influenced only by skincare products, but also by hormones that work quietly at night, when you think your body is resting. If you've ever stood in front of the mirror and wondered, why is my face still changing even though I've tried so hard? Please leave a comment below. You won't just be sharing with me. You'll also help many other women realize that they are not alone. And if this gentle, body-respecting content for women over 60 helps you understand and be kinder to yourself each day, please subscribe to the channel. Each subscription is one step closer to 100,000 subscribers, so these kind messages can reach many more women. Now, let's begin by understanding what is really happening inside your body at night. Before talking about any mistakes, we need to pause at one very important question. What has truly changed in a woman's body after 60? Because without understanding this, many women will continue to blame themselves, thinking they haven't taken good enough care, haven't used the right products, or haven't tried hard enough. But the truth doesn't lie there. After 60, the skin does not suddenly become weak. It is simply operating under a different mechanism. When estrogen declines after menopause, it's not just that the skin produces less collagen. The body also begins to allocate energy more cautiously. Vital functions are prioritized first, and the skin is only repaired when the internal environment feels safe and stable. So the face is not sagging because you neglected it. It's a signal that your body needs to be cared for, according to a different biological rhythm, especially at night. And it is right here that a very common mistake begins to quietly affect your face every single day. Many women grow up with a very familiar belief. Nighttime is when the body rests, and daytime is when everything functions. That belief isn't wrong, but it isn't complete, especially for the body after 60. The truth is, when you fall asleep, your body does not shut down. It simply switches to a different mode, a mode of repair, regeneration, and reorganization. During the night, many important processes happen at the same time. Cells are renewed, connective tissue is repaired, blood vessels relax, and the nervous system is calmed. For the skin, this is the only window of time when the body can invest in long-term tasks, such as maintaining supportive structure and keeping the face from being gradually pulled downward over time. But there is one very important thing that few people explain clearly. After 60, the body no longer repairs unconditionally. When you were younger, just getting a few hours of sleep was often enough for the body to make do and recover to some extent, even if sleep wasn't perfect, even if daily routines weren't very consistent. After 60, however, the body becomes far more selective about conditions. It needs very clear signals to understand. Now is a safe time to repair. If those signals are not clear enough, the body will delay recovery, not because it doesn't want to help you, but because it is protecting you in a more cautious way. And this is where many women begin to feel confused. They say, I still get enough sleep. I go to bed on time. I even try very hard to go to bed earlier than before. But despite that, when they wake up in the morning, their face still looks tired, the skin still feels soft, and the sense of sagging quietly increases. The reason lies in one crucial difference. Getting enough sleep does not mean the body has entered repair mode. After 60, sleep doesn't just need enough hours. It needs the right biological rhythm. If before bedtime, the brain is still constantly stimulated, light exposure is still strong, emotions are still tense, or daily schedules change from day to day, the body will interpret that the environment is still not safe enough to unlock deep repair processes. In that case, the body still sleeps, but it sleeps in a defensive state. And in that state, non-urgent tasks, such as restoring the skin's supportive structure, are pushed aside. This explains why so many women after 60 do not feel sleep-deprived, yet notice their face changing faster than expected, not because they sleep poorly, but because the body has not truly been allowed to repair. And it is right here that a very common nighttime mistake begins to take shape. A small mistake, repeated every day, but enough to disrupt hormone activity and quietly affect the face over the years. We will clearly name that mistake in the next section. Now, let's clearly name the nighttime mistake that so many women over 60 are making, not because they are careless, but because no one has ever clearly explained it to them. This mistake is not a single action. It's not just staying up late one night or accidentally scrolling on the phone for a few extra minutes. It is a chain of habits repeated every evening that prevents recovery hormones from working fully. That chain usually looks like this. Indoor lighting remains quite bright in the evening. The brain continues to take in information right up until bedtime. Bedtime changes from day to day, and the body does not receive a clear signal that now is a safe time to repair. When this chain repeats itself, it begins to disrupt the three most important hormone systems for the skin at night. First, melatonin, the hormone of darkness and recovery. Melatonin is often called the sleep hormone, but in reality, it is also the signal that initiates the entire nighttime repair process. After 60, the body no longer produces melatonin as strongly as before. Because of this, it becomes extremely sensitive to the surrounding environment. When lights remain bright, especially white light or light from screens, the brain interprets this as, it's not fully dark yet. And when the brain does not recognize darkness, melatonin is not fully activated. This means that the body may still be sleeping, but it has not entered the deep recovery state that skin after 60 desperately needs. Second, cortisol, the stress hormone that refuses to go to sleep. Cortisol is not a bad hormone. It helps us stay alert, respond quickly, and protect ourselves. The problem is that after 60, cortisol becomes harder to bring down at night. When evenings remain bright, the brain continues processing information. Emotions haven't had time to settle. The body keeps cortisol higher than necessary. And when cortisol stays elevated, the body prioritizes vigilance, not repair. In that state, collagen regeneration and strengthening the skin's supportive structure are no longer seen as urgent tasks. As a result, the face is not properly supported during sleep, and over time, the sense of sagging becomes more noticeable. Third, growth hormones and tissue repair. There is another group of hormones that only function well during deep, continuous sleep. These hormones are responsible for tissue repair, structural regeneration, and maintaining natural firmness. After 60, deep sleep is usually shorter and more easily interrupted. If before bedtime, the body has not truly been calmed, these hormones do not have enough of a time window to work, and when repair is shortened, night after night, the skin gradually loses its ability to hold its shape. Why does this mistake lead to facial sagging? The important thing to understand is this. The face does not sag overnight. It sags because each night, the body misses a small part of the recovery process. One night doesn't matter. 1 week doesn't show much either. But when this repeats, for hundreds of nights after 60, the skin begins to feel as though it has lost support. Two rares. Not because the skin is weak, but because it is not being repaired at the right time. And this is when you might gently ask yourself, does your evening truly help your body enter a safe state? Or is your brain still working right up until you get into bed? If you recognize yourself in these descriptions, please don't worry. What matters is not how long you've been doing things wrong, but that you are beginning to understand what is really happening. Because once we understand correctly, we can absolutely adjust nighttime habits, so recovery hormones can work in alignment with the body's new rhythm after 60. And that is exactly what we will do together in the next section. There is one sentence that so many women over 60 have said to me. I used to stay up much later than I do now, scrolling on my phone, watching TV, going to bed late, and my skin was still fine. So why now, with just a small change, my face looks noticeably different? That question is completely reasonable, and the answer is not that you have become weaker, but that your body has shifted into a different mode of operation. When you were younger, the body was like a system with a large buffer. Hormones were strong, recovery capacity was high. As long as you got a few hours of sleep, the body could still take advantage of that time to repair the skin and its supporting tissues. In other words, the body used to be able to tolerate less than ideal habits without showing the effects right away. But after 60, that buffer becomes smaller. Hormones are no longer abundant. Deep sleep is shorter. The ability to compensate is reduced. Because of that, things that once seemed very minor, nighttime light, brain stimulation close to bedtime, irregular daily schedules, now have a much clearer impact. The body after 60 no longer repairs, regardless of circumstances. It becomes more economical and more selective. Imagine the body as a budget. When it feels safe and stable, it is willing to spend on long-term investments, tissue regeneration, collagen maintenance, keeping the face lifted and supported. But when safety signals are not clear enough, the body tightens its spending. It prioritizes vital functions, the heart, the immune system, the brain, and the skin, even though it matters greatly to how we feel, is pushed lower on the priority list. That is why, after 60, the face does not necessarily develop many more wrinkles, but instead becomes softer and sags more noticeably. Not because the skin has worsened, but because the body no longer feels it has the right conditions to invest in skin repair at night. And the most important thing for you to remember here is this. This is not your fault. Not because you haven't taken good enough care of your skin, not because you haven't been serious enough about sleep, but because no one ever told you that. After 60, the body needs different signals to recover. Now, I want to ask you one very simple question. If you realize that your evenings do not truly help your body relax and enter repair mode, please comment number 1. If you feel that your evenings are already fairly calm, with gentle lighting and a stable bedtime, please comment number 0. There is no right or wrong answer. These numbers are not meant to judge anyone. They simply help you recognize where you are and help me understand you better so I can bring you the most suitable content. In the next section, we will go into the most important part, how to correct this nighttime mistake in a gentle, practical way that truly fits the body after 60. Now, we come to the most important part, not to make you change everything at once, not to make you feel that you've been doing things wrong for too long and declared, but to help you understand this. With just a few small evening adjustments, the body after 60 can enter a much better recovery state. Below is a 4-step routine designed specifically for a mature body, not extreme, not expensive, and completely possible to start tonight. Step 1. Reduce light to signal it's time to rest. About 60-90 minutes before sleep, the body needs a very clear signal that the day is ending. But in modern life, many homes remain as bright as daytime, right up until getting into bed. After 60, light is no longer a small issue. Strong light, especially white light, tells the brain that it's not time to rest yet. And when the brain doesn't recognize darkness, recovery hormones are not fully activated. You don't need to live in the dark. You just need to lower overhead lights. Choose warm, soft lighting. Avoid light shining directly into your face. Think of this as a gentle way of speaking to your body. Everything for today is done. Step 2. Calm the brain, not just turn off the phone. Many people think that simply not using the phone is enough. But the truth is, it's not devices that exhaust the brain. It's content, stressful news, social media comparisons, conversations that stir emotions. After 60, the brain takes longer to slow down. If you bring tension to bed, the body may sleep, but it remains in a state of alert. So instead of only turning off screens, actively guide the brain into a calm mode. You can listen to slow, instrumental music, read a few pages of something light, sit quietly and take deep breaths for 3-5 minutes. Just a few minutes like this each evening is enough to send the signal. Now it's safe. Step 3. Stabilize bedtime. Not sleep earlier than everyone else, One of the biggest misconceptions is, to improve skin, you must sleep very early. After 60, what matters is not sleeping early, but sleeping consistently. A mature body doesn't like sudden changes. When bedtime shifts constantly, the body doesn't know when to activate repair mode. But when you go to bed and wake up at roughly the same time each day, the body begins to trust that rhythm. And with trust, recovery hormones work more effectively. You don't need to force yourself to sleep at 9 p.m. Just choose a suitable time, keep it consistent during the week, and let the body do the rest. Step 4. Create a sense of safety during sleep. This is the step many women overlook, yet it is extremely important after 60. The body only repairs deeply when it feels safe. Safety here doesn't mean locking the door. It means a quiet environment, comfortable temperature, not being startled repeatedly. A few small things to consider: a slightly darker room, avoid sudden noises, keep the room comfortably cool. These things won't make the skin look firmer overnight, but they create conditions so that each night the skin isn't pulled downward any further. The most important thing: don't try to be perfect. You don't need to do all 4 steps right away. After 60, the body responds best to consistency, not to excessive effort. Just choose one small thing tonight. Dim the lights earlier, listen to music instead of the news, or go to bed a little more on time. Then keep that one habit for a few weeks. Many women notice that when nights become calmer, mornings feel gentler not only for the skin, but for themselves as well. And that is the foundation for keeping the face after 60 from being pulled downward over time, allowing it instead to remain more stable and kind. In the next section, we will talk about the real, noticeable changes you may feel after 7 to 14 nights of adjustment, so you can know whether you're moving in the right direction. When you begin gently adjusting your nighttime habits, the first thing you should know is this: the body after 60 does not change loudly. It doesn't flip the skin upside down after just a few nights, but it responds very honestly when it is treated in the right rhythm. During the first 7 nights, many women notice a subtle change. When waking up in the morning, the face no longer feels as heavy as before. The skin may not feel noticeably firmer yet, but the sense of fatigue on the face begins to ease. Some women say they no longer have to wait for their face to wake up for so long after getting out of bed. The eyes look softer. Facial expressions feel less tense. By the second week, as the biological rhythm becomes more stable, the changes feel a bit clearer. Not that the skin suddenly looks tightly lifted, but the face doesn't seem to sink downward as much. By the end of the day, the jawline no longer feels like it melts away as quickly. The cheek area looks more stable, less prone to drooping when tired. What's important is this: these changes don't come from a new product, but from allowing the body to do what it already knows how to do: repair and maintain balance. If you're experiencing these very subtle changes, please don't doubt them. After 60, sustainable progress always begins with small, gentle, and steady signs. In the final part, we will look together at the common misunderstandings that cause many women to unintentionally interfere with this recovery process, even though they've been trying very hard to take care of themselves. When women first notice changes in their face, a very natural reaction is to do more. Add a new cream, switch to something stronger, take collagen more faithfully, even more than before. But after 60, what the body needs is no longer more, but more accurate. The first misunderstanding is thinking, as long as I supplement enough collagen, my skin will firm up. Collagen is only raw material. If the body doesn't feel safe enough to repair, that material will be prioritized for more essential areas: bones, joints, blood vessels, before it ever reaches the skin. The second misunderstanding is getting enough sleep is enough. I was bit. Many women sleep 7 or 8 hours every night, yet still wake up with a tired-looking face. Because after 60, what matters is not the number of hours, but whether the body has truly entered a recovery state. The third misunderstanding, and the one that exhausts many women the most, is thinking, if my skin is getting worse, it means I haven't tried hard enough. The truth is, the more you push yourself to try harder, the more stress signals the body receives. And in that state, Recovery hormones become even harder to activate. After 60, the skin does not need to be forced. It needs to be allowed to recover in a calm, consistent environment without the pressure to change too quickly. If, as you're listening to this, you suddenly feel a little lighter, a little less self-blaming, that is not by chance. Because when we stop fighting the body, when we stop seeing changes as mistakes that must be fixed, the body begins to respond in a very different way, gentler, slower, but aligned with the rhythm it currently has. And it is from that very subtle shift in perspective that everything else begins to feel easier. Before leaving this video, I want you to pause for a moment and remember one truly important thing. After 60, caring for your face is no longer a race to hold on to what has passed. It is a journey of learning how to live more harmoniously with your body. At the stage you are in right now, the face does not sag because you neglected it. It changes because the body is asking to be listened to in a new rhythm, slower, quieter, and kinder. If this video helps you understand more clearly why your face is changing, or helps you blame yourself a little less, even just a bit, please press like to support the channel. And if you would like to continue receiving gentle, science-based sharing, created especially for women after 60, please subscribe to Woman Over 60 Secrets. You don't need to move faster than time. You only need to move alongside your body, one day at a time, with more understanding and peace.